Medieval India, page number 154, part 3. Early expansion of the empire 1560 to 76. Following Behram Khan's regency, the territories of the Mughal Empire had been expanded rapidly. Apart from Ajmer, important conquests during this period captured earlier that were of Malwa, the Ghar, the Gad Katanga. Malwa was being ruled at that time by a young prince, Baz Bahadur. His accomplishments included a mastery of music and poetry. Stories about the romance of Baz Bahadur and Roopmati, who was famous for her beauty as well as for music and poetry, are well known. During his time, Mandu had become a celebrated center for music. The army, however, had been neglected by Baz Bahadur. The expedition against Malwa was led by Adam Khan's son of Akbar's foster mother. Maham Anga Baz Bahadur was badly defeated 1561 and Mughals took valuable spoils including Roopmati. However, she preferred to commit suicide to being dragged to Adam Khan's harem. Due to senseless cruelties of Adam Khan and his successor, there was a reaction against the Mughals which enabled Baz Bahadur to recover Malwa. After dealing with Behram Khan's rebellion, Akbar sent another expedition to Malwa. Baz Bahadur had to flee, and for some time he took shelter with the Rana of Mewar. After wandering from one area to another, he finally repaired to Akbar's courts and was enrolled as a Mughal Mansabdar. The extensive country of Malwa thus came under Mughal rule. At about the same time, Mughal arms overran the kingdom of Gad Katanga. The kingdom of Gad Katanga included Narmada Valley and the north positions of the present Madhya Pradesh. It had been welded together by one Aman Das who flourished in the second half of the 15th century. Aman Das helped Bahadur Shah of Gujarat in the conquest of Raisen and had received from him a title of Sangram Shah. The kingdom of Gad Katanga included a number of Gond and Rajput principalities. It had the most powerful kingdom set up by the Gonds. It is said that the ruler commanded 20,000 cavalry, a large infantry, and 1,000 elephants. We do not know, however, to what extent these figures are dependable. Sangram Shah had further strengthened his position by marrying off his son to a princess of famous Chandela rulers of Mahoba. This princess, who is famous as Durgavati, became a widow soon afterwards. But she installed her minor son on the throne and ruled the country with great vigor and courage. She was a good marksman both with guns and bow and arrow. She was fond of hunting, and according to a contemporary, it was her custom that whenever she heard that a tiger had appeared, she did not drink water till she had shot it. She fought many successful battles against her neighbors, including Baz Bahadur of Malwa. These border conflicts apparently continued even after Malwa had been conquered by the Mughals. Meanwhile, the cupidity of Asaf Khan had the Mughal governor of Allahabad was roused by the stories of fabulous wealth and the beauty of Rani. Asaf Khan advanced with 10,000 cavalry from the side of Bundelkhand. Some of the semi-independent rulers of Gada found it convenient moment to throw off the Gond yoke. The Rani was thus left with a small force. Though wounded, she fought on gallantly. Finding that the battle was lost and that she was in danger of being captured, she stabbed herself to death. Asaf Khan then stormed the capital, Chauragarh, near the modern Jabalpur. So much plunder in jewels gold, silver, and other things were taken that it is impossible to compute even a fraction of it, says Abul Fazl. Out of all the plunder, Asaf Khan sent only 200 elephants to the court and retained all the rest for himself. Kamla Devi, the younger sister of the Rani, was sent to the court. When Akbar had dealt with the rebellion of Uzbek nobles, he forced Asaf Khan to disgorge his illegal gains. He restored the kingdom of Gad Katanga to Chandra Shah, the younger son of Sangram Shah, after taking 10 forts to round off the kingdom of Malwa. During the next 10 years, Akbar brought major part of Rajasthan under his control and also conquered Gujarat and Bengal. A major step in his campaign against the Rajput states was the siege of Chittor. This redoubtable fortress, which had faced a number of sieges in its history, was considered a key to central Rajasthan. It commanded the shortest route from Agra to Gujarat, but above all, it was a symbol of Rajput spirit of resistance. Akbar realized that without conquering Chittor, he could not induce the Rajput rulers to accept his suzerainty. Chittor fell in 1568 after a gallant siege of 6 months. At the advice of his nobles, Rana Uday Singh had retired to the hills, leaving the famous warriors Jaimal and Patta in charge of the fort. Many peasants from the surrounding area had to take in shelter within the fort and actively aided the defenders. When the Mughals stormed the fort, these peasants and many of the Rajput warriors were massacred, the first and the last time Akbar indulged in such a carnage. The Rajput warriors died after extracting as much vengeance as possible. In honor of the gallant Jaimal and Patta, Akbar ordered that 2 stone statues of these warriors, seated on elephants, be erected outside the chief gate of the fort of Agra. The fall of Chittor was followed by the conquest of Ranthambore, reputed to be one of the most powerful fortresses in Rajasthan. Jodhpur had been conquered earlier. As a result of these victories, most of the Rajput Rajas, including those of Bikaner and Jaisalmer, submitted to Akbar. Only Mewar continued to resist. Gujarat had been a sorry state of affairs since the death of Bahadur Shah. The fertility of its soil, its highly developed crafts, and its importance as a center of import-export trade with the outside world had made a price worth fighting for. Akbar also laid claim to it because Humayun had ruled over it for some time. An additional reason was that the Mirzas who had failed in their rebellion near Delhi had taken shelter in Gujarat. Akbar was not prepared for such a rich province to become a rival center of power. In 1572, Akbar advanced on Ahmedabad via Ajmer. Ahmedabad surrendered without a fight. Akbar then turned his attention to Mirzas who held Bharuch, Baroda, and Surat. At Cambay, Akbar saw the sea for the first time and rode on it in a boat. A group of Portuguese merchants also came and met him for the first time. The Portuguese dominated the Indian seas by this time and had an ambition of establishing empire in India. Akbar's conquest of Gujarat frustrated these designs. While Akbar's armies were besieging Surat, Akbar crossed the river Mahi and assaulted the Mirzas with a small body of 200 men, which included Man Singh and Bhavan Das of Amber. For some time, Akbar's life was in danger, but the impetuosity of his charge routed the Mirzas. Thus, Gujarat came under Mughal control. However, as soon as Akbar had turned his back, rebellions broke out all over Gujarat. Hearing the news, Akbar marched out of Agra and traversed across Rajasthan in 9 days by means of camels, horses, and carts. On the 11th day, he reached Ahmedabad. In this journey, which normally took 6 weeks, only 3,000 soldiers were able to keep up with Akbar. With these, he defeated an enemy force of 20,000, 1573. After this, Akbar turned his attention to Bengal. The Afghans had continued to dominate Bengal and Bihar. They had also overrun Odisha and killed its ruler. However, in order to not to give offense to the Mughals, the Afghan ruler had not formally declared himself king, but read the Khuba in Akbar's name. Internal fights among the Afghans and the declaration of independence by the new ruler Daud Khan gave Akbar opportunity he was seeking. Akbar advanced with a strong flotilla of boats accompanying him. The Afghan king was believed to possess a large army consisting of 40,000 well-mounted cavalry, an infantry of about 150,000, several thousand guns and elephants, had a strong flotilla of war boats. If Akbar had not been as careful and the Afghans had a better leader, the contest between Humayun and Sher Shah might well have been repeated. Akbar first captured Patna, thus securing Mughal communications in Bihar. He then returned to Agra, leaving Khan-e-Khanan, Munayam Khan, an experienced officer, in charge of the campaign. The Mughal armies invaded Bengal, and after hard campaigning, Daud was forced to sue for peace. He rose in a rebellion soon afterwards, though the Mughal position in Bengal and Bihar was still weak. In a stiff battle in Bihar in 1576, Daud Khan was defeated and executed on the spot. Thus ended the last Afghan kingdom in the northern India. It also brought an end to the first phase of Akbar's expansion of the empire. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope your exam went well. If not, no worries. Don't lose hope and work for it till the end. Thank you everyone for listening, and do subscribe and share the channel for more videos like this. We have curated a playlist specially for you and all the aspirants who wish to study, which would be available on your screen right now. Thank you everyone, and all the best for exams.